Hello, my amazing students. This is Mrs. A, and we are back with lesson 16 in our orange book. So we're talking about more complicated evaluation. So here is our board, and let me see if I can keep the light from shining just right on the board. Okay, need the light, but don't need it right in the middle of the board. So we're talking about symbols of inclusion, parentheses, brackets, and braces. And here's an example down here. So we have negative a, and we have bracket minus a, and then parenthesis p minus a, parenthesis bracket. Okay, so we're going to evaluate that if p is negative 2 and a is negative 4. So the first thing we're going to do is take out each one of the variables and put a parenthesis with the substituted value in there. So here we go. Okay, so we're going to take out the a. Now notice there's a negative in the front, but we're not going to worry about that right now. In place of the a, we're going to put a negative 4. So I'm going to take out the a, put the parenthesis, negative 4, and I'm just going to make that negative back there where it was because I think I erased it a little bit. So here's a negative a. So I'm going to leave the negative there. I'm going to erase the a. There's a negative there. I'm going to put a parenthesis, and I'm going to put, instead of the a negative 4. I'm going to take out the p. I'm going to put a little parenthesis, and in the parenthesis, I'm going to put a p, which is a negative 2. And then I'm going to take out the a, and then I'm going to put in the negative 4. Now the reason I put a little parenthesis there is because sometimes students will forget the sign that they're dealing with. So I say when you take it out, put a little parenthesis, put the whole value in, and then go back through and look at the signs. We always do this inside out. Okay, so we're going to come in to the innermost part of our whole expression here, which is this part right in here. See, we had a parenthesis, an original parenthesis inside of the brackets. Okay, and so we're going to do this part first. We always work parentheses and all symbols of inclusion inside out. Okay, so negative 2 minus a negative 4. Well, minus a negative 4 is the opposite of negative 4, which winds up being positive 4. So we have negative 2 plus 4, which is 2. So inside this parenthesis now, we have a 2. And then on the outside, we have a bracket. And then on the front of this 2, we've got the negative of a negative 4, which is a positive 4. Now, you can put that in a parenthesis if you want to, but you don't have to. And we got a bracket. And the opposite of a negative 4, again, is out here as a multiplier in the front. So the opposite of a negative 4 is another positive 4. And again, you could put it in a parenthesis, but you don't have to. So now we're still going to follow our order of operations. We're going to do these together first because they are grouped in a symbol of inclusion. So 4 times 2 is 8, and then 8 times 4 is 32. So the answer should be 32, and it is. So we got the first one right. Okay, so this is example 2 in your book, and your book is suggesting that in this one you don't use the parentheses, which means that as you go along you will fix the signs right then. Okay, I personally think it's a good idea to use the parentheses until you get good at it and then start doing the mental math, but we're going to try and see if we get it right. So a is going to become negative 2. All right, so I'm not going to put it in a parenthesis, but I am going to put a times symbol, okay, because these two are multiplied together. And then x is a negative 6. Okay, so I'm going to have to do those in just a minute, but I do have the times symbol to remind me that they are multiplied together. Then the negative a is the opposite of the negative 2. Well, the opposite of the negative 2 is positive 2. So you see how I'm kind of doing the math as I go along? And then a is a negative 2 minus the x, which is negative 4, and minus a negative 6, excuse me, minus a negative 6 is positive 6. Okay, so I didn't use parentheses, but I did my math as I was going along. So now I'm going to add these together first because they are my innermost symbol of inclusion. So negative 2 plus 6 is positive 4. Okay, and then 2 times positive 4 is going to wind up being our 8. Okay, and then negative 2 times a negative 6 is 12. So we're going to have 12 times 8, and 12 times 8 is 96. 96 should be our answer, and guess what? We got it right. Okay, so this is example 3, and we're going to go back and use parentheses on this time. I'm kind of alternating between the parentheses. You do all the math after you put the numbers in. And then if you don't use the parentheses, you kind of have to do the math as you go along. Like negative of a negative 4 is positive 4. You have to do that as you go. Okay, so we're going to do this one with parentheses. So we're going to take out the b, and we're going to parenthesis, and in place of the parenthesis we're going to put a negative 4 because that's what b is equal to. We're going to take out the b, and we're going to put in a negative 4. Take out the b and put in a negative 4. And well, let's go ahead and do all the b's. Put in the negative 4, okay? And then we're going to do all the c's. So that's a negative 6. We take out the c and put in the negative 6. Take out the c and put in a little parenthesis, little cocoon for it to live in there. Okay, so we've gotten everything fixed, and we're going to start innermost to outermost. Okay, so when we look at it, this was in front, but here we have a bigger parenthesis and another bigger parenthesis, and then we have this one and it is attached to this one, but then they all go together in this one. So let's start right here. Now I've already replaced these, so I'm going to erase this just to give me a little bit more room here. Okay, so we're locating the innermost parentheses. So remember, once they're on the same level, we do them left to right. So we're going to look at this one right here. Okay, and that's negative 4 minus a negative 6, which is negative 4 plus 6. And negative 4 plus 6 is 2. So I'm just going to replace this whole parenthesis with a 2. And now in front of that, as a multiplier, is the opposite of negative 4, which is a positive 4. I'm going to put my big bracket here. I'll come put that in a minute. So I've got this one, I've got this one, minus, now we'll put a parenthesis. We'll see what this is equal to. Negative 6 minus a negative 4 is negative 6 plus 4, which is a negative 2. And then we're going to have the big bracket on the outside. And in the front, we have a multiplier. Negative of negative 4 is positive 4. So we've simplified it quite a bit. So now again, working inside the parenthesis first, we have a multiplication that is a higher order of operations than a minus. So we have to do this first, don't we? So we're going to have 8 minus a negative 2 is plus a 2. Bring down our 4. 8 plus 2 is 10. 4 times 10 is 40. And that one was done with the parentheses. Okay, so the next one we'll do without the parentheses. And you can decide they are both correct methods. Okay, it's just that one you do more writing down and one you do more in your head. Okay, we're still going through the same processes with both of them. Okay, so we're going to end up now doing our practice exercises because we're done with the lesson and ready for our practice. Okay, so here we are with practice problem number 1. So we're going to do this one without using the parentheses just because we're trying to alternate back and forth between the two methods. Okay, so where we have a negative a, we're going to plug in a positive 2 for the a, so that's going to be the negative of a positive 2, which will just be a negative 2. Okay, then we have a negative a, which will be a negative 2. A positive p will be a negative 4. And then a negative a, remember, is a negative 2. Okay, so now we didn't use any parentheses. We're going to just, but we did kind of adjust things in our head, thinking about them. So now we have this in here has to happen first because it's a symbol of inclusion, the innermost symbol of inclusion. So what is negative 4 minus 2 more? Well, minus is going backwards, so that's going to be a negative 6. So we have a negative 2 times a negative 6 times a negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12 times a negative 2, which is a negative 24. Okay, here is the practice problem number 2, and we're going to use our parentheses on this one because we're alternating. So we're going to take out the p and put in a negative 2. We're going to take out the a and put in a negative 4. We're going to take out the p and we're going to put in a negative 2. And then we have a big parenthesis. We got a negative a, so this can be a negative 4. Okay, I should have had one more of those. Okay, we always have to have matching parentheses. So now we're going to go to our innermost, and we've got the negative of a negative 2, which is a positive 2, times the negative of a negative 4, which is a positive 4, and that is in our bracket. And then over here, we're going to have, this is multiplied together also. So we can either tag it along and wait a minute, or we can go ahead and do it because it's all multiplication. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. This is also an 8, so 8 times 8 is 64. And we're done. Okay, so the last one is going to be without parentheses. Because we're alternating. So we've got a negative x, but x is a negative 2. So a negative of a negative 2 is going to be a positive 2. Okay, so out here we have a negative x. Now we're going to definitely put in the parentheses we already have. So negative x is a negative of a negative 2, which is a positive 2. Parenthesis, matching these parentheses. And then we've got an x, which is a negative 2. Minus an a, which is a minus 5, which is a positive 5, minus in between a, which is a negative 5, minus x, which is a negative 2. So minus a negative 2 is a positive 2. And then we put our closing bracket. Okay, so now remember we do our parentheses left to right, inside out. So negative 2 plus 5 is going to be positive 3. And then positive 3 times a 2. So let's go ahead and do it in pieces. 3. And then negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. Okay, so again, inside, we're going to do this multiplication first. So we're going to have 6 minus a negative 3. 6 plus 3 is 9. So 2 times 9 is 18. And that is the end of your lesson 16. And this is Mrs. A, and may God bless your day.